Kaneki, aka the Ghoul, has got to be one of the most controversial killers to release in recent memory. And not because my fiance thought he was a character from an adult website. But a lot of people don't think an anime character belongs in Dead by Daylight. Some people wanted Art the Clown or Jason, so they were underwhelmed by the Tokyo Ghoul collab. But let's be real, if Behavior could get those licenses, they would have been in the game a long time ago. Being ungrateful for a new killer is like being a bratty kid on Christmas, pissed off that your parents got you GoBots because they didn't have the money for Transformers. Do I think the Ghoul belongs in the game? Just as much as I believe Dracula and Vecna do. It's always good to add a new killer in the game. This one just happens to be another killer that I can't pronounce correctly. So I'll receive anywhere between 30 to 40 comments correcting me. Like, honestly guys, 300 likes? Do I read manga? No, but to be fair, I can't read it all. Do I watch anime? Also, no. I have an affinity for shows that require less brain cells. But that doesn't mean I'm not excited to break down this new killer. Kaneki is like Spider-Man, where you can traverse the entire map by attaching to taller objects and slingshotting around. Which had me thinking, is this just a sad attempt to compete with Marvel rivals? Today, we'll rate his lore, his power, his perks, and ultimately how fun he is in this hater's guide to the Ghoul. The Ghoul is from the Tokyo Ghoul anime, and I'm not going to pretend to know his backstory, so I'm just going to make one up. At a young age, Ken Kaneki was bitten by an octopus. This gave him special powers, which he used to fight crime. Originally, he was thought to be the hero of the town, but after his ink accidentally got in the water supply, he was responsible for the death of thousands of innocent civilians, which is why he's the newest killer in Dead by Daylight. If someone could post his actual backstory in the comments, I'll pin it for those who are actually interested, but for a rating, I'll have to go off my fictional story. I'll give his lore 5 stars because I created it, but because of his negative impact on the environment, we're gonna dock him a star. But we'll replace that star with a little oil barrel. Kaneki has a slingshot-like power that will have you sliding around the map like your drunk uncle on a slip and slide. You can use your tentacles to latch onto any object and slingshot yourself forward. And then on the second attempt, you can attach your tentacle to a survivor, which will injure them and give them deep wound. A lot of people think Kaneki is like Wesker because he has a dash attack. A lot of people think Kaneki is like Blight because you can't use your attack on the first dash, only the second. A lot of people think Kaneki is like Legion because he can only injure people with his ability, not down them. And a lot of people think Kaneki is like Trickster because they're racist. To me, he just feels like an anime octopus man, exactly how I expected him to feel. I think the mechanic feels super fun and unique, and for that reason, he's definitely not one of those killers I feel like I'm gonna get tired of fast. There's so much excitement behind hitting a cool tentacle play, and I feel like every game, I'm trying to slingshot off a different item or hit someone from far range, which keeps it fresh. Kaneki also has an enraged mode, which you go into after you injure a survivor with your tentacle. It just gives you an extra lunge and you lunge faster. It kind of feels like Singularity's overclock mode after you teleport, where you can just do things a bit faster for a short period of time. And with both of these things combined, the tentacle and the enraged mode, I really like the tool set that they gave him, so I'll give his power 5 stars. Plus, we'll add in one of those sticky jelly hands that you would get at the Chuck E. Cheese, the ones that you like throw up against the wall and it would stick. It's got like the little circle at the bottom and the string, one of those things. Kaneki comes with 3 perks, and Forever Entwined is the token dog shit perk that every killer has to come with. This perk will allow you to pick up, drop, and hook survivors faster, which is an advantage that nobody knew they needed because it's not needed. It seems like it might help prevent flashlight saves, but I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't just run Lightborn at that point. It also might give you half a second more out of Barbecue and Chili or Alien Instinct by hooking people faster. I just can't wait to be annoyed by this perk when I get it in Chaos Shuffle, but for now, I'd be shocked if I see it on any builds. None Are Free is his second perk, which will block pallets and windows up to 64 seconds in the endgame. I imagine people will pair this up with No Way Out and No Ed for a little endgame fun, but I'm gonna say it, I'm just not a huge endgame kind of guy. I like to handle my business in-game, and if I'm gonna go endgame, I'll slap on No Ed so I can rake in the hate comments. Don't get it twisted. None Are Free is a solid perk, so I'm definitely gonna dabble every once in a while. Hex Nothing But Misery is by far the perk I'm most excited about. It's a hex perk that will create a hex when you injure survivors 8 times. That hex will cause survivors to become hindered 5% for 15 seconds after a basic attack. As a Sadako main, this perk sounds like it would be amazing on hit and run killers, and I imagine it's basically a free down when paired up with Rapid Brutality. The Ghoul's perks excite me far more than the perks perks of Dracula, Vecna, and the Houndmaster, but I definitely don't think any of these perks will be a mainstay in any meta builds. Kaneki continues to follow the same killer mold. One good perk, one solid perk, and one shitty perk. I'll give the perks 3 stars, and we'll actually toss in an extra star for the tip of the cap that behavior did to Sadako mains. For killer strength, at this point in time, it seems like Kaneki will be one of the more powerful killers in the game. Hens already came out saying he's an S tier killer, so we can basically pack it up. 5 stars. But honestly, if you watch anyone play Kaneki, you can already start to see why he's so good. He has map traversal basically all game, so after you get a hook, you can just start slingshotting yourself right back towards a generator to get into the next chase. Yes, he can only injure people with this power, but the cooldown to get out of his power seems manageable and you don't lose a lot of distance coming out of it. So I didn't have any issues getting downs. Does he feel as strong as Chucky did at release? No, probably not, but he definitely feels like he'll be hard to counter. I'll drop him in A tier for right now. I think they may have to do something about the cooldown to come out of his power and make it a little harder to get hits with your tentacle. If they do that, he might feel a little more balanced, but for now, I'll give his killer strength 5 stars plus one of those little chattering teeth toys because that's what his attack looks like sometimes. Finally, let's talk about funness. If you love Tokyo Ghoul, you're probably having the greatest time with him. And when I look around the community, people really seem to be enjoying his abilities, but for me, the funness level is kind of hit or miss. While it does feel good to hit a good slingshot around the map with my Spider-Man-like tentacles, he feels a little bit clunky. The animation to latch onto a survivor seems a little bit weird to me, and it also seems borderline unfair at times because I've hit some crazy shots that seems like they shouldn't have worked. He's definitely more fun than Houndmaster, but he has that same type of feel where sometimes I'm having a blast, but other times I'm just annoyed because I get slingshotted right into a wall or something. I didn't get a chance to play the PTB, so I'm sure I'll get more used to him, but for now, the fun level is gonna get a 4 star for me, but we'll add in an hourglass because only time will tell. Should you buy Ken Kaneki? If it's for the perks alone, I'd say no. If it's for his 2-hour-long Mori, I would also say no. But overall, I think his mechanics are fun enough to warrant a purchase. Thankfully, he's only about $5 USD, but all his cosmetics are like 4 times the price, which is criminal. What's also criminal is that the majority of people watching this video are not subscribed. We just hit 10,000 subscribers, and if everyone watching this video were to subscribe right now, we would have 1.45 million subscribers. I'm not sure if that math is right, but hopefully you like this breakdown of the Ghoul. Let me know which killer you want to see next, but for right now, you can watch this video where I prove that Dead by Daylight isn't killer-sided.